This is Beer in Front, part of the OddPods Media Network. Every week I'll talk about a beer that maybe we've forgotten along the way while we get those check-ins and badges. Some weeks I'll talk about a new beer that has potential to be a classic. Being the Chicago beer guy, I'll also talk about great craft beer and craft beer news in the city of Chicago. Remember, sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet. That's Beer in Front, and it's coming up now.
Hey, babe, do I have to wear pants for this? Oh, hi there. Welcome to the April 19th edition of Beer in Front. I'm your host, Dave Zalatoris, and Beer in Front is a proud member of the OddPods Media Network. This week, I'm going to have the classic Mexican lager Victoria is the beer in front, and I'll also have Hop Butcher's Pickle Spear. I want to give a big thank you to those that support the show over on Patreon. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/beerinfront for more information. If you're a regular listener of the podcast, you could head over to YouTube and watch the podcast this week. If you're watching this over on YouTube, I have an audio version of the podcast, and you could listen to 155 prior shows over there. You could head over to your favorite podcast apparatus, search for Beer in Front. I mentioned on last week's show that the one before, when I had the Trevor over from South O Brewing, had a ton of people that caught the show over on YouTube. Now, last week's show, and it could just be because the title was trendy with Bud Light, I had over 400 people that either listened, watched, or what have you in 3 days. So I figure I'm going to give this a try. I'm not going to do this every week because it's a lot more work, but I'm going to see how this works out. If it seems to be successful, then I'll still have the audio show, but I'll have video up on YouTube for these solo shows. I don't think I'm going to do this for the interview shows, but I'll have these out from time to time if it's successful. The next time I do this, hopefully there won't be this giant zit on my forehead. I'm 55 years old, and the week I want to do a video podcast, I get this. What the fuck? But I'm going through it anyway. I'm a trooper. This is what I do for the Beer in Front viewers. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Dave. I'm just a regular guy, a Chicago beer guy. I started the podcast about 3 years ago because, frankly, I was just getting tired of myself and other people that were just chasing new beers every week, whether it was the latest barrel-aged stout or the latest hazy IPA. And people forget that there's great beers out there that have stood the test of time. Whether they're macros or craft, they're still great beers. They were great beers 20, 30, 40 years ago. They're still great now. So what I've tried to do with this podcast is reintroduce myself and to you some older beers that, as you heard from the intro, maybe we've forgotten along the way, blah, 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 blah. So I'm just a regular guy. I don't work for any brewery. I don't work for any bar or tavern. I'm just a regular Chicago beer guy, and I like talking about beer, and hopefully you enjoy listening to me talk about it. So welcome. I'm glad you tuned in, and let's kick this show off, shall we? In beer news this week, residents of, and I'm going to read this, Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, Utah, and Washington will soon be able to get Bell's beer. You could get that now since they've merged with New Belgium, part of their distribution. So residents of those states, you could look for Bell's Amber and all great Bell's beer coming up soon. Heineken is coming out with a new canned cocktail line that's rum-based, and they're going to use the Red Stripe beer line to introduce this. So, hello, RTD Cocktails. And finally, last week, if you watched or listened to the show, you heard me talk about Bud Light. That's been all the news in beer. Conservative people are up just in an uproar over Bud Light. And some jamoke, I don't know who he's from, but he wants to call himself some ultra MAGA guy. And he wants to come up with 100% woke-free beer. And it's like ultra MAGA or whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of things that are wrong with this. There's one, now, according to his YouTube video and website, and one on the YouTube video, he's trying to be Macho Man playing baseball. He's not good. His pitching motion is horrible, and he has to tee up a can. If you could play ball, you don't need to put a can of beer on a tee. Have someone pitch it to you. So I don't think you're quite the ultra MAGA man that you think you are. But now he says that this beer is going to be brewed in northern Illinois. So there's a few places that people are talking about. I don't know for sure. But if you heard the show a few weeks ago, we don't have laws that you could distribute beer from the great state of Illinois yet. So how is this person going to get this beer to the grifters that are spending, and get this, $20 on a 6-pack of golden ale that's 4%. I'm sorry, but I take a leak stronger than 4% after I record this show. That beer doesn't cost a lot to make. It's 4%. So he's grifting. Can't distribute the beer to people yet. Also, on the can that he has put out, this can has not been approved by any agencies yet. It has the word Ultra on there. You know who else makes a beer called Ultra? Let me think about it. It's Anheuser-Busch. You think they're going to let this ass clown put out a beer with Ultra on the can? I don't think so. So if you're giving this dude $20 plus $15 to ship you this beer, $35 for a 6-pack of 4% urine? If you're going to spend that money to this dude, give me some money. Go to patreon.com/beerinfront and I will give you better beer than this clown. But this guy's just a douche canoe, and watch out for him. He's a scammer.
Hi, I'm Tina Jaramillo.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
And we host the Muck Podcast, where we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics.
Hey, Tina, did you know that Elvis crashed the Nixon White House for the sole purpose of getting a DEA badge? And it worked?
What? Or how a gun control advocate senator out of California engaged in gun trafficking with notorious gang leader Shrimp Boy?
Shrimp Boy, I remember him. Okay, so, we cover all of that and more from maladies, madness, mischief, and murder in U.S. politics.
And we also host a bi-weekly interview segment called Lil Muck.
We interview politicians, journalists, activists, and others who share their experiences in politics.
Find the Muck Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and check us out on social media at the Muck Podcast.
The beer in front of me today is the oldest beer in Mexico. This is Victoria. Victoria's been around since 1865. This qualifies as an old school classic. This is a Vienna style lager, which if you've listened to the show, you know I love Vienna style lagers. This clocks in at 4%. Let's crack it open. Victoria is a really good color. As you can see, good carbonation here. I really like the color of this. I like the aroma. I'm getting a lot of malt here, almost some like biscuity type notes to this. Really nice aroma here. That's really good. Only 4%, so it's not a strong beer at all, but you get a lot of flavor here. I get a lot of the malts. It's a Vienna style lager, so it's definitely not as strong as your traditional Vienna lagers. It's a lot lighter, but there's a lot of flavor here in this 4%. It's just really good. Now, their website says, oh, you get notes of tangy apple butter and starfruit. No. If you do, let me know. I don't get tangy apple butter with this. I just get a really good beer. I could definitely see knocking over a few of these. Hot summer day, you're sitting outside, you're on the grill, you're having some people over. 4%, so you're not going to get hammered on this. You want to drink something that's refreshing and delicious. I think this checks all the boxes. For a 4% beer, this is really good. I haven't had Victoria I couldn't tell you the last time, but I won't make that mistake again. This is going to be a regular in the beer in front cabinet that's right over there. You could pick this up in regular 12-ounce bottles like I have here. You could grab it in big 32-ounce bottles at some of your grocery stores or liquor stores. I think Victoria is a good beer, one of the better mass-produced macro beers I've had in a while. So if you haven't had Victoria or you haven't had it in a while, please pick yourself up a Victoria. I don't think you're going to be disappointed with this one. All right, the beer in front of me is going to be from Hop Butcher. This is Pickle Spear. This is an American pale ale brewed with Simcoe hops. 6% alcohol. This was only canned a couple of weeks ago, so this is fresh. So let's crack open the Pickle Spear. Trying to get this in between the camera and the microphone. As you can see, Pickle Spear has a really nice color in the Hop Butcher glass. Really nice, solid aroma here. I get a lot of like grapefruit and pine. Simcoe says, if you look at the hop description, that it has like mixed berries. Pretty much everything that I've had with Simcoe, I get a lot of citrus and pine. That's what I get from the aroma here. That's really, really good. Hop Butcher is known for their New England hazy IPAs, but everything that I've had from them that is not, whether it's a pale ale like this, some of their stouts, other collabs they've done with Revolution, everything they've put out has been great. This is no exception. Pickle Spear is really good. Yeah, I get a lot. I'm getting more pine and then some grapefruit here with the taste, but it's really good. Nice bitterness at the back end of your tongue. Good flavor here. I'm a big fan of Pickle Spear. If you see it in the Chicago area, it's fresh. Like I said, it was canned on the 29th of March, so it's fresh. So it's around at your bottle shops, your binnies, or you could just go to Hop Butcher on Lincoln Avenue and pick some up. But if you see it, put it in the cart, grab you some Pickle Spear. If you're new to the podcast or the video stream, I talk about beer once a week. Every now and then I'll put out a special edition show. I've had shows on music, on 1971, on pizza, on Stax Records, but generally I talk about beer. I do have an award show. If you look under YouTube, if you go under the live setting, you'll see I had a show out in December for the Beer in Front Awards, celebrating the best in old school craft beer and macro beer. I'm going to do it again this year. I'll have it out in December, and I'm going to start getting the word out in the next couple of weeks with the beers that are going to be judged. If you think you would like to judge, please get a hold of me at Dave@BeerInFront. I'd love to have you on, or just even if you just want to score it, I'll send you a score sheet. You could rate all these different beers I'm going to do this year. Craft beer that's older than 21 years old, and I'm also going to have best imported beers. So I talked about Victoria today. That will be on the list, as well as other great imported beers to the United States that have been around for longer than 21 years. So please check those out. I thank you for watching this episode.
That's going to wrap things up for this week's edition of Beer in Front. I thank you for listening and watching. If you need to get a hold of me, you can email me, dave@beerinfront.com, or you can leave a voice message on the podinbox.com voicemail system. Head over to podinbox.com/beerinfront for more details. We'll see how this goes. We'll see how many viewers and listeners I get. I might continue to do these video podcasts if the numbers warrant it. I'll probably just do it for the solo shows, not for the interview ones. But you never know. We'll see how things happen. So take care of yourself. Thanks for watching and listening, and I'll talk to you next week on Beer in Front.